Islam has never been anything to do with peace. I've read most of the Quran and it's full of massacres, bloodshed, slave dealing, perversion, mass rape, just as Jihad Fransen tries to...
(9/11, 2001). Terrorists who call themselves warriors of God against the crusaders of the West. Two religions that demand peace, yet wage war throughout history. Epochs of confrontation and collaboration. Peoples and powers who fight in the name of God, but who struggle for supremacy on earth. It's the 7th century AD, the advance of Islam. United in faith, Muslims are forging a global empire. No power seems capable of stopping their advance. Will the banners of the new religion soon be flying over Europe? A decisive battle looms. Christian warriors against the sword of the Prophet. Late October, 732 AD. Frankish soldiers on patrol along the southern border of the Kingdom of the Franks, alerted by news of an advancing enemy. The danger is closer than they think. The forests near the city of Tours will be the battleground against warriors from the desert. They are scouts from a Muslim expeditionary force. They know that an army of Franks is expecting them. Their task is to find out how strong the Franks really are. For the Frankish patrol, the enemy scouts remain invisible. The precursor to a battle that will shape history. The Muslim scouts have seen enough. The Franks have amassed a huge army. The recruits are mainly craftsmen and farmers. They've been turned into Western Europe's largest army under the leadership of Charles Martel. Bishop Milo of Trier, himself an experienced war leader, is in awe of Martel, who's forged an army that is second to none. His secret: iron discipline. Charles Martel is a Frankish nobleman with a reputation for being tough and fearless in the face of the enemy. His nickname, Martel, the Hammer. He knows that battles aren't won by reputation alone. Who are these foreign warriors who have invaded Western Europe? South of Tours, the Moorish attackers have made their camp. Are they here to pillage or conquer? The Moors intend to be well prepared before they go into battle. They haven't expected such a large army. The Franks seem to be well armed and ready for combat. So far, no one has been able to halt the Moorish advance. But Abdurrahman is convinced that the Christians are underestimating the strength of the Moors.
It can be assumed that the Franks didn't have very detailed knowledge of the invaders. They described the North African Moors as Saracens, a very general term, or as Ismailites. They also called them infidels. This was simply a way of saying they were not Christians, but heathens. It would be wrong to say that the Franks or Charles Martel had a very detailed knowledge of the invaders.
21 years earlier, in the summer of 711, the Moorish army had landed on the south coast of Spain. News of the foreign invasion reached the capital of the Iberian kingdom, Toledo. It was ruled by Christians. The Spanish king, Rodrigo, prayed for God's help in facing the danger from the south. The Muslims had amassed 12,000 warriors for the conquest of Spain. To the Christian defenders, they looked like invaders from an alien world. On the Rio Guadalete in the south of Andalusia, the armies clashed. Spain's Christian rule came to an end with the death of Rodrigo. Within 8 years, the Moors conquered most of the Iberian Peninsula. Making Cordoba their capital, they marched across the Pyrenees. Then, in 732, they arrive at Tours. The leader of the Muslim army is Abdul Rahman, governor of Al-Andalus, Moorish Spain. The emir is considered ambitious and skillful. He'll go down in history if he gets his way. The troops are weary. They want to return home with the loot from recent battles. But Abdul Rahman wants to defeat the Franks. The city of Tours is full of riches, ready for the taking. He's determined to attack. The Muslims take up position outside Tours. Their presence is a threat to one of the most important spiritual centers of Christian Europe. It was Saint Martin of Tours who'd brought fame to the city. In 361, he'd founded the first Christian monastery in the West. Veneration of the saint made Tours one of the most important places of pilgrimage in Europe.
Tours played a major religious role within the Frankish kingdom. The city contained the tomb of St. Martin, by now the Franks' most important patron saint. The city also possessed St. Martin's cloak, one of the most precious religious relics of the country.
What had begun with St. Martin was completed one Christmas day at the end of the 5th century. The baptism of King Clovis I in Reims Cathedral marked the triumph of the Christian faith, which became the official state religion under the Franks. Baptist churches like Saint-Jean de Poitiers testified to the preeminence of Christianity. In 721, the imminent attack of a Muslim army threatens the Christian order. Bishop Milo laments the desecration and the looting of church buildings. Martel is determined to put a stop to this. Odo of Aquitaine wants to lead the attack with his horsemen. But Charles Martel knows how to make better use of them. Odo is a former opponent of Charles Martel, but the Muslim danger obliges him to form an alliance with his old foe.
Despite the cordial alliance between Charles Martel and Odo, their relationship was a rather tense one. We know this because Charles Martel fought 2 campaigns against Odo in 731. But in the end, it was the common danger that obliged both of them to fight the Moors instead.
Are their Christian allegiances strong enough to help them master the new challenge together?
Und wanderte ich auch im finsteren Todestal,
At the time of battle, both sides draw strength from their faiths.
Herrn der Welt, dem Barmherzigen und Gnädigen, der am Tag des Gerichts regiert.
Du bereitest vor mir einen Tisch.
Bishop Milo asks the God of the Christians for help.
Und Gnade werden mir folgen mein Leben lang. Und ich werde bleiben im Haus des Herrn immer da.
Dir dienen wir.
Abdurrahman prays to Allah for his support.
Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen.
In early medieval warfare, God and the saints played a crucial role as helpers on the battlefield. Before a battle, divine assistance was invoked, either through religious processions or through prayer.
Abdurrahman promises his warriors direct entry to paradise. Is the collision between Muslim and Christian armies near Tours a clash of faiths? Or is it just a conflict between two ambitious military leaders? There are no negotiations. Win or die. That's the attitude of both sides as they enter the fray in central France.
Bringt die Bogenschützen in Stellung.
Abdurrahman and Charles Martel take up position.
Männer, haltet stand, weicht nicht.
The Christians put their trust in God.
استعدوا للرماية.
But they also rely on their powerful shields.
هيا ارموا. تقدموا الآن. الله أكبر.
The Muslims charge toward the Frankish infantry. The crucial phase of the battle has begun. Will the 25th of October, 732, become Christendom's fateful turning point, as is claimed in posterity? Tours marked the northernmost point of an expansion that had started a century earlier. The Muslims had conquered North Africa, Spain, and parts of Asia Minor. In the west, their empire bordered on the kingdom of the Franks. In the north, on Byzantium. The Muslim power center was Damascus, but it was Mecca where Islam originated. It all began with a cosmic event. A meteor had smashed into the Arabian Peninsula. The rock that fell from heaven was considered a divine sign. It inspired the founding of the Mecca of pilgrims. Long before the birth of Islam, a cult site formed around the sacred rock, the Kaaba, the Arabic word for cube. Not only the meteor was venerated here, there were also gods with names like Hubal, Alat, and Usa. As the centuries passed, Mecca developed into the largest cult center in Arabia. But in the year 610, a religion was born here that changed everything.